whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, Gavin.Rich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel GBoot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. I'm attorney Gavin Richard. I grew up here in New Orleans, so I know how important family, friends, and community are to us. And helping others has been a lifelong passion of mine. If you've been injured in an accident, you may be out of work and faced with large medical bills. You'll need someone to fight the insurance companies so that you can get on with your life. Give me a call at 504-799-2288, and I'll be with you all the way. The law offices of Gavin M. Richard, going the distance so that justice may be served. Wherever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe this evening. Welcome to another edition of Random Topic Sundays. The place to be is right here with me on channel GBoot2786, on my backup channel Gavin Richard, and Facebook Gavin Richard, as well as Periscope if we're on there. It says I'm live. I hope you are blessed and doing safe, whoever you are, wherever you are. Tonight on our channel, we'll be discussing the following: the Fury Wilder aftermath and analysis, cancel Dave Chappelle, and also Kim K host Saturday Night Live takes a shot at OJ and Kanye West. You can all, if you'd like to support me, those that are new to this channel, you can go ahead and check out first off my Creole Blends, Nani's website. That's naniscreoleblends.com, naniscreoleblends.com. You try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nani's goes great with every dish. You can also check out and go to Video Soul on iTunes. That's available now. That is my latest single that I have published and composed. You all can check that out. And also, if you would like, as we always do, before we get on down, we got to get on up. And that single is available on iTunes, Spotify, and Apple. You can stream it. People have been streaming on Spotify. I like the fact that people have said nothing but good things about it. So I'm grateful that they did that. And we will get started in a minute. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I just had somebody hit me up. All right. So we'll get started in a minute, ladies and gentlemen. So get your popcorn ready and your beer. You don't want to miss this exciting episode of Random Topic Sundays here on GBoot2786. And let us get started as we go on and get on up.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, because on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the...
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up
And move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Yeah, gotta get on up. Come on, baby, gotta get on up. Baby.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Gotta get on up. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Gavin Richard Presents. Hope you're blessed and doing safe. I was just chatting with my man. First off, shout out to him. I don't know if he's going to tune in live, but if he's watching, Sean James, he and I have been talking because I am doing a movie review. Eventually, and that's something I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to put it probably on the Patreon. That way I can avoid all the copyright crap of playing stuff. But I'm going to be doing some, starting probably a new channel real soon, or at least new content where I'm going to be doing some reviews of some films. And he and I have been talking about this No Time to Die movie, the James Bond movie that came out. And hold on. And so I saw and I actually saw the movie today. I was just coming back. That's why I moved it up, because I want to start doing that. And I won't talk about it, but tonight, and there's going to be spoilers in my stuff, commentary, but I will just say it. I guess if you go off what they were saying as to what they wanted James Bond to be when this movie, No Time to Die, was in production, you can see why there was backlash. And I won't say too much, but I wanted to see it for myself. So I'm going to actually do some commentary on it because I was not happy with the overall product. But that's another story. So I'll leave it at that for right now. But what's up? I got a shout out to the chat, Byron B, Lamiko. We got one who cares, Tylene. We got 14 people in the building right now, and I know I was debating coming on this late because I know everybody probably is tuned into the Black Authority, uh, Jason's podcast, as well as Tariq Nasheed's broadcast, which I know he does later today around 10 o'clock. And I was debating, oh, I'm going to go up against those guys. But I said, to hell with it. I think I can draw in a crowd too. And not a shot at those guys, but I believe in myself. I think we can carry this because I know a lot of people love to hear what I have to say. They enjoy my show, and I enjoy you all being here. So I'm grateful those that are here that are here. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get started. Let's go ahead and get started and talking about stuff, man. This has been a good week for me. I'm still alive, like most of you if you're watching. So that should be count for something. Um, I want to update you all about some things. I'll probably do it at the end. But yeah, you all see the link at the bottom. If you want to keep this channel growing, please donate to the Cash App, Google Pay, or PayPal, or Zelle. You can do that. That way, it helps the channel grow and also to keep the show rolling and want me to do more content, upgrade stuff. I've always talked about that. So that's always grateful if you can contribute. So I don't know which way direction to start. I'm talking about the weekend. I guess we could start with this. All right. Most people know this is the Fury Wilder aftermath and analysis. Now, most people know, or if you don't know, maybe you know, I am a sports enthusiast. I love sports. I'm a bowler myself. I love football. I'm not gonna lie to you, even though the NFL, yeah, they got a lot of racist shit that they do, especially with the owners and athletes in general. I have a problem with how black athletes, especially when they play for the NBA, these leagues like the NBA and NFL, get mistreated. But it is a guilty pleasure. I'll just leave it at that. But I love boxing, and boxing has become, boxing, especially the heavyweight division. You know, in the last, I want to say the last 18 years, let's say between 18 to 20 years, boxing, especially in the heavyweight division, is really about 20 years has taken a fall. In part because the heavyweight division, you had, and I remember watching people like the Klitschko. I didn't really watch the Klitschko brothers. I remember them, but I didn't watch them because they wouldn't fight anybody. And I remember when the heavyweight division was taken over by these big Russians and Germans and people all from Europe. You had no real American fighters. That since the Mike Tyson retired from professional boxing, that came in and actually dominated the sport. You never had that. And I'm gonna be real with you. It since we, Dante Wilder was the last. I get was the American who's an American from Alabama. He calls himself the Bronze Bomber, almost sounding like Joe Louis, but he is no. I can tell you, he is no Joe Louis. Well, he had been in this trilogy with your Tyson Fury this last 3 years, and I liked Wilder. I still do to a degree because Wilder brought excitement back to that division, to the heavyweight division. For us, you fight 43 fights and you have at least to your record 41 KOs. People like seeing knockouts. Let's just be real. You don't go there to see people not getting hit. You go to see somebody get hit. That's what boxing is about. But the sport, the sweet science of boxing, as Floyd Mayweather has done, it is not just about getting hit or throwing hits, it's about avoiding getting hit. So hitting is one thing, but avoiding getting hit is another. And some people, especially when Floyd started boxing, forgot about that or didn't know that because they got spoiled by people like Mike Tyson and Manny Pacquiao and others knocking people out. I didn't mean to advertise this broadcast under with Audi, but that's fine as long as they chip in some money whenever they want to broadcast. But let me close the ad out. So what happened here is Wilder and Fury. So Wilder comes in, and Wilder basically, started out 19 years old, and he takes the WBC heavyweight title, and he made it much more interesting. Now he started boxing at 19 years old. At 19 years old, as a way to make a living, and he seems like a nice brother. 10 successful title defenses. But for today's purposes, he fought this guy from Britain, Tyson Fury. And Fury, of course, Fury is now has fought in a trilogy with Deontay Wilder 3 times, this trilogy, and he's bested him 2 out of those times. Their first fight ended in a draw, although I thought Wilder won that fight. He actually knocked Fury out, and Fury got the benefit of a long count. Now, I even saw, now look, when I said Fury, Siri pops up thinking I'm talking about her. Now, I remember, and Tariq's doing a broadcast right now. I'm going to have to look at it later, called Shadow Boxing Organization. So he's talking all about this fight. Damn it, I knew he was coming on. I didn't thought he would come on a little bit later. But Fury, so yeah, he got the benefit of a long count, I thought, in their first fight. And even in this fight, I don't know if I can find it, I'll put it, yeah, well, we found it right here. Let me share with you. I think they'll show, if they will show it. But Fury knocked Wilder down once in the 3rd round. And then in the 4th round, this is what, and I want to see if I can show that. I can't, I'm trying to avoid copyright stuff. But when I So that was the second. I remember this. Now that was the second knockdown. There was another one he put down.
He's hurt, fellas. Wow! Over there!
Now, that only played 16 seconds of it, but the referee picked the count up at 4. They always tell the other boxer to go to a neutral corner.
He's hurt, fellas. Wow! Over there!
All right, so they're not playing that. Well, and I watched the fight. Yeah, and Fury, of course, knocked him down. He knocked Wilder down about 4 or 5 times. Wilder, if you see in this picture, and this is a problem I've seen with Deontay Wilder with his fights. The guy has knockout power. He can knock you out flush, but he tires himself out very easily. And you look at this picture. This was, Deontay is going night-night. Let's just be real. He didn't fight a great fight. He was until, that 4th round was his best. But overall, he was getting whipped. When I watched it, he actually had, if from what I saw from the punch stat numbers, Fury outlanded Wilder by a margin of 150 to 72. So he actually got more punches in. Double that. He had double the amount of punches that landed versus the amount that Wilder landed. And when you're throwing and when you're throwing all of these wild punches like Deontay can throw, and you're not connecting, well, it's a problem because you exert your energy, you exert yourself. And I like the brother. I hope he comes back. But I don't know if I would 4 or 5 knockdowns. I was like, oh gosh, and I was rooting for him. I was like, when he knocked him down twice, I was like, oh dude, he's gonna put him away. But he couldn't do it, and he looked fatigued the whole fight. And my understanding, even Floyd Mayweather offered to give him some pointers or tips, wanted to help him train, and Deontay turned him down. Well, after that, if you can't take constructive criticism or even professional courtesy from one of the greatest fighters of all time, now they're saying that he broke his hand. He did look like during the fight his hand was bothering him. He kept clenching it, and perhaps that could have been. I still know that certainly would have been an issue, but so that's a. And they've been all my whole thing though. They've been all on Fury's dick the whole fight, the whole fight. So that's Deontay Wilder's coach. But he apparently broke his hand. They did an interview uh with his manager, his trainer. That's his trainer right there, Malik Scott. I don't know if I can play it without getting in trouble or anything like that. But yeah, Timber. Come on, I gotta make a joke on this stuff. But now this is Wilder is a cut dude, by the way, muscles and stuff. Look at Fury. I mean, look. Hold on. Let me change it. Just look at Fury from this angle. Okay, look at this shit. Look at now. This is embarrassing because brothers, y'all are supposed to knock the white dudes out. All right, he looks like he trains at Dave and Buster's. Look at that. Wilder trains in the gym, and Fury trains at Dave and Buster's eating fish and chips. Just look at this. What's up with these fat boys that's winning? They tell it pays to have a gut. You gotta have a gut. They always said get lean and fit with abs. No, you gotta have a gut. Remember the guy that knocked out Anthony Joshua? Hold on. John was it? It's not John Ruiz. Hold on. Andy Ruiz. Now this is Andy Ruiz. Y'all remember this? All right. He actually trains at Taco Bell after he works at Home Depot. He don't box full time. This dude looks like he boxed part time. Look at it.
How you score that round? I gave it to Andy Ruiz
58. Now what? Hold on. I gotta be careful copyright stuff. Look at Anthony Joshua. Joshua's fit. This is like when Butterbean was knocking people out. I mean, goodness. I'm gonna get a copyright strike. It's got 18 million. But let's put the disclaimer in here. This is for purposes of commentary only. He's ranked for purposes of commentary, news purposes only. Copyright Act of 1976 does allow for fair use. So I'm gonna claim fair use, but I'm trying to avoid sharing all of this. But he was ranked by ESPN, BoxRec, Transnational Boxing Rankings Board. I'm talking about Tyson Fury. He was ranked now as the greatest heavyweight the best heavyweight in this sport right now. And the heavyweight division, Butterbean could knock people out. Yeah, he had punching power, but shit, Larry Holmes beat a 50-year-old Larry Holmes beat Butterbean. Larry Holmes outboxed Butterbean. I remember Butterbean. Yeah, he could knock dudes out. It's easy to go in and knock somebody out, but when you want to box, because Butterbean didn't fight no Evander Holyfield. Butterbean didn't fight Mike Tyson. Butterbean didn't fight a Lennox Lewis. He couldn't get no fights like that. He couldn't get fights like that. So Fury is the third heavyweight after Floyd Patterson and Muhammad Ali to hold the Ring Magazine title twice and is the current lineal heavyweight champion. So that means when you're the undisputed champion. Now, what's interesting, and subsequently by a fighter who defeats the reigning champion in a match at that class. So in professional boxing, the lineal champion is informally called the man who beat the man. Well, those titles, too, have not been unified. Those titles have not been unified because they're split off. But I remember when the Klitschko brothers fought, and they even got criticism because they wouldn't fight anybody. You know, who in the heavyweight division right now is shot. But I can say this about Deontay Wilder. And this is the one thing, this is something I do respect, is that he, from Tuscaloosa, he's actually brought some type of relevance. And he's called the Brown Bomber because of the Olympic Games. But it sounds very close to Joe Louis's title. But he actually brought some type of respectability back into the American division, becoming the first American heavyweight championship holder, the first champion. I believe the last American to win it, would have been a Roy Jones Jr., if I'm not mistaken. But he was the first in a long, long time to hold that title. And I remember but let's talk about this, the first fight that Fury had with Wilder. And this is the thing, too. You look at this. Wilder threw 430 punches in the first fight and landed only 17. Okay? Versus 71. I'm sorry. He landed 17% of his punches. Fury landed 26. You can't throw all of those haymakers and miss. You exert energy. And I remember he knocked Fury down twice in that fight, but they called it a draw because he got outboxed. I know for a fact this dude, Tyson Fury could not beat a Muhammad Ali.
Wilder stated, quote, "I did my best, but
and then I remember the second fight,
the 10-second count yet. All thanks to the last-minute referee replacement, Russ Samora. He ended up giving Tyson Fury a 15-second count."
Okay, so someone had this video up. Let me play it. Because I need to move on to the next topic. I don't want to be on too long. But I'm looking at this. So this is the first time I've seen this. And again, I'm going to claim fair use. 1976 Copyright Act allows fair use for purposes of commentary, criticism, and news only. That's what this is, and education as well.
Breaking news of Deontay Wilder giving his immediate reaction to the knockout loss he suffered to Tyson Fury in the trilogy. Wilder stated, quote, "I did my best, but it wasn't good enough. He came to lean on me, tried to rough me up, and he succeeded. End of the quote. Say whatever you want to say about Wilder, but he went out like a warrior on his shield. He gave it his all. He did not quit. He was not fighting to survive. He was willing to get KO'd in order to score the knockout. In fact, Deontay Wilder did knock out Tyson Fury in the fourth round. That's right. You heard me right. Besides knocking down Tyson Fury twice in the fourth round, Deontay Wilder knocked him out in the process as well, where Tyson Fury failed to beat the 10-second count yet again. But all thanks to the last-minute referee replacement, Russell Mora. He ended up giving Tyson Fury a 15-second count instead of 10. To make matters worse, at the 15-second count, some way, somehow, the referee was still counting at 8. Keep in mind, there's people at the ringside assisting the referee to keep up with the proper count. However, instead of counting Tyson Fury out, the referee stopped counting to tell Deontay Wilder to go to the corner, as he turned around and gave Tyson Fury 5 extra seconds to get up and gather himself. As you all see above, Tyson Fury was on the canvas at the 17-second mark, then 11 seconds later, at the 6-second mark. Tyson Fury hadn't got up yet, so he was supposed to be counted out, and that was supposed to be a knockout for Deontay Wilder. But would you believe the referee was still counting at 5? This is a throwback to the first fight when the referee gave Tyson Fury an extra count too. I mean, leading up to this fight, I told you all that Deontay Wilder was going up against all odds. He wasn't just fighting Tyson Fury, he was also fighting the system.
Right. I'm gonna do this. After I show this video, I'm gonna show the fight, the last fight, the first fight. I will show the last the 12th round. That was the final round when it looked like Wilder knocked Fury out. They gave him a long count. You're right.
The commission, the referee, etc., etc., etc. The commission still allowed Tyson Fury to wear his magical gloves. Then you see the referee give Tyson Fury extra counts on multiple occasions. Therefore, the only way Deontay Wilder could have won this fight was by putting Tyson Fury to sleep, literally, the same way Marquez had Pacquiao snoring. Otherwise, these referees will have given Tyson Fury.
Now, I want to say this too, and clearing something up. I know one thing about boxing. When it comes to the count or a long count, it always starts, because remember, this happened even when Tyson fought Buster Douglas, and he hit Buster Douglas with a solid uppercut. And Douglas was on the canvas for about 14 seconds. It starts not by the count from the outside. The count starts by the referee, by rule. So that happens. But long counts do happen in boxing. The long count fight between Gene Tunney and Jack Dempsey, where Tunney was knocked down in the 7th round, the count was delayed due to Dempsey's let me share it with you. Now I'm gonna put the video back up. But y'all look at this. All right. This is coming from the long count fight. Despite the fact that Tunney was knocked down for over what appeared to be 36 seconds, the long count is applied to the fight because when Tunney was knocked down in the 7th round, the count was delayed due to Dempsey's failure to go to a neutral corner. Whether this long count actually affected the outcome remains a subject of debate. So just almost a year before, in 1926, Tunney had beaten Dempsey by a 10-round unanimous decision to lift the world heavyweight title at Sesquicentennial Stadium in Philadelphia. The first fight between Dempsey and Tunney had been moved out of Chicago because Dempsey had learned that Al Capone was a big fan of his, and he did not want Capone to be involved in the fight. Capone reportedly bet 50 grand on Dempsey for the rematch, which fueled false rumors of a fix. So Dempsey loses that fight. And when you look at the fight, let's see. So Tootie had been recorded. I said 36 seconds. He had been down for by the time Dempsey finally walked to a neutral corner. Tunney had been down for around 3 to 8 seconds. Barry could not start the count on Tunney until Dempsey reached the neutral corner. Dave Barry was the referee, but he was still able to count to 9 before Tunney got up. Some believe that if Dempsey had responded to the referee's orders in time, he likely would have regained the world heavyweight crown with a 7th round knockout. The validity of this argument has been debated to this day. In the fight film, a clock was superimposed that recorded Tunney's time on the floor as 13 seconds from the moment he fell until he got up. Because of its delay, it's become known as the long count fight. Now, what's interesting in that fight is that in the next round, Tunney knocks down Dempsey with the punch. The referee started counting right away before Tunney had moved to a neutral corner. Tunney was dominant in the final 2 rounds, and went on to retain the world title by unanimous decision. So wow. So this happens. Notice who they say too, how transportation of boxing match movies across state lines was prohibited because of Jack Johnson's victory over Jim Jeffries in 1910. Yeah, so that's interesting. But let me go back. Let's go back now and let's look at I'm going to put that video back up right quick. Hold on and finish this off.
20-second count, as if he got knocked out of the ring. With the facts being laid out, Deontay Wilder needs to keep his head up. He fought like a warrior, and he went out like a warrior. Even with the 60% Deontay Wilder we used to know, he pretty much knocked out Tyson Fury. And I only said 60% because Wilder looked punch drunk to me. I don't know if it's because he took too much punishment in the rematch, the dent, etc., but I had never seen Deontay Wilder gas out in the 2nd round. Keep in mind, Deontay Wilder always showed great stamina, even in the 12th round. And it can't be the weight, because when Wilder fought Luis Ortiz in the rematch, Wilder was a solid 230 pounds. And we all saw how great he looked in that fight. He never showed any signs of gassing out in any portion of that fight. So hopefully Deontay Wilder is A-okay. Nevertheless, drop your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe below, and click on the notification bell to be continued on the next episode of Aki TV. Peace, and I'm on to the next one.
Mr. Aram, for the Wilder versus Fury 3 fight, why was there a change of a referee and a judge at the last minute?
I really couldn't answer that because I don't know. I think you'd have to ask the Nevada Athletic Commission what this. I mean, maybe a guy got sick or he had family obligations. I have absolutely no information about that.
So just like I thought, I just got a notification that I got hit with a copyright strike. So let me play. Okay, let me do this while I got the screen up here. I'm gonna play show that first fight. There it is. Okay.
And Davison telling Tyson Fury, you need to wrap him up quickly. When he starts to throw, I want you to wrap him up. Wilder. take a look at the knockdown. There's that left hook, bang.
I'm looking for it. That's the long count Bailey Derek is talking about.
6, 7, 8, 9. Can you continue? You want to go? Walk over there and come back to me.
What a shot by Wilder!
And he got up at the count of 9. Now watch it. Fair use, 1976.
Can you continue? You want to go? Walk over there and come back to me.
What a shot by Wilder! Wilder is the most lethal finisher. He's the most lethal finisher in the sport. Can he finish off Fury? Look at Wilder pour it on. Look at Wilder go. Can he finish off Tyson Fury? 2 knockdowns in the fight for Wilder. Can Wilder finish off the Gypsy King? Right hand by Wilder. Wilder, another switch to the right hand. Fury, coming on the right. How Fury got out after that second knockdown is beyond me. But back to Fury. Fury answers with the right hand.
So that was the fight Derek was talking about. And let me mute it. Let me mute it. So yeah, and there's a lot of racial. I'm sure there's always a racial element with this because when you're dealing with sports like boxing has always been, they're serious about the heavyweights and so forth ever since Jack Johnson. And the white Americans will cheer, I noticed, for even a European or white foreigner more than if they were fighting against a black American. Look at a perfect example is when Mayweather fought Manny Pacquiao and how the media reacted with Manny Pacquiao, people, wanting him to beat Floyd and so forth. They remember even on ESPN when you had people like Rachel Nichols and Michelle Beadle that were trying to bring up Mayweather's past with domestic violence. They didn't have a damn thing to do with the show. So that's the final round. But you see, Wilder was gassed. And when I saw that, I was like, oh gosh, he's down. And that was the final punch there. The referee didn't even have to count. But yeah. And I saw something, Max Kellerman was all on Fury's dick, like they're calling him the greatest. I'm like, he's just fucking big. Just a big Russian, like the Russians, the Klitschko's. Nothing special about him. I'm just saying, they're all on, and even Max Kellerman was praising him. I'm like, what the hell? A fighter get knocked down twice and still be considered one of the greatest and come back and win. Like, shit, it happens. If that's the case, if you think that's good, then shit, you should have Diego Corrales ranked as one of the greatest middleweights of all time. Diego Corrales fought Juan Luis Castillo and got knocked down twice and later knocked out Juan Luis Castillo. And that was one of the best fights I ever saw. And Corrales, sadly, he died at a very young age, right after that fight. Not too long after that fight. That was their second fight. I mean, he literally knocked this dude out. If you feel that way. So I'm gonna continue monitoring this, but I wanted to talk about that. I didn't want to spend too much time, but y'all saw what we had. You are welcome, Bossa Queenie. Bossa Queenie is one of my new mods. So yeah, man, but you'll see the racial stuff that comes out now. They're gonna think he's better than sliced bread until he meets a real dude that can actually put him on his ass. But I wasn't impressed with it. So anyway, let's move on to our next subject. Cancel Dave Chappelle. Now, I had the opportunity, of course, Dave Chappelle's latest stand-up special, The Closer, was made available on Netflix earlier this week. And I had the opportunity to watch Dave Chappelle special. Me being a stand-up comedian, I have nothing but respect for Chappelle. And I remember what they did when he did his two Netflix specials. Sticks and Stones was the last one he did in 2009. And then he had two others, The Age of Spin, Deep in the Heart of Texas, Equanimity, and The Bird Revelation. So Dave has had this deal with Netflix where he's done all of these stand-up specials for Netflix. He has a contract with them. And I believe this is, if I'm not mistaken, his final special with Netflix because he's honored his part of the contract. And it's been receiving positive reviews, but it's also been receiving a lot of controversy because you have people who are using fake outrage to attack Dave Chappelle over what they call homophobic and transphobic jokes. Now, it was released on October 5th on Netflix, landed in the top 10 spot in its opening weekend, and later moved up to number 3. Now, you look at Rotten Tomatoes here. This is the Wikipedia page. They have a 33% review, 33% favorable review over this special, ranking it 6 out of 10. They gave it a mixed review on vulture.com. And then on NPR, they said Chappelle goes too far with the jokes. In untangling homophobia, transphobia, racism, and white privilege requires a lot more effort and understanding than Chappelle makes here. And in particular, you have this issue with this person, Jocelyn Moore, who is a series writer for Dear White People, a show I have never seen, not really interested in seeing. And it got canceled, and gratefully so, because it probably sucked. And I heard even on that show that there was a lot of LGBTQ that gets pushed in that as well. Because I believe your boy from Everybody Hates Chris, isn't he on this show? So I don't really watch it. I don't really care to. But they push a lot of this stuff. And so this Jocelyn Moore, who's trans, and I'm going to put a picture of this person up in a little bit, but they threatened to boycott Netflix over the jokes. I say good riddance. Good freaking riddance. That's who wants to block Dave Chappelle. Not the old guy right there. That's who wants to cancel Chappelle. But you see, I've noticed something with the LGBTQ community. They can make jokes on other people and laugh. But when the joke is on them, they can't take it. It's a classic example of being good to dish it, but not able to take it. And what made this even worse is that you have this organization, the National Black Justice Coalition, that has come out against Dave Chappelle. Now, notice it's called National Black Justice Coalition. That's what's in its title. But then when you read, this is an organization, by the way, I've never heard of. And when you read this, though, this is the Wikipedia explanation on this group. It calls itself an American civil rights organization serving primarily lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. So is it an LGBT group or is it a black civil rights group? Which one is it? But apparently it is a LGBTQ front, because you look at what they're fronting and you also look at the commemoration project that they have, the thing that they're named after, have here for in the name of Bayard Rustin, who was a known homosexual. And they're actually trying to push Bayard Rustin out like he was the greatest thing next to Dr. Martin Luther King. That's the next push down. They actually have a movie that's being made on Bayard Rustin's life. But you know, Bayard Rustin tried to equate LGBTQ or homosexuality, because it wasn't called LGBTQ then. It was called homosexuality. And they tried to equate that with the Black movement. And Dr. King would not allow it. And these groups noticing it now. This is the person who is the leader of the National Black Justice Coalition, Mandy Carter. That she is a lesbian. Now, she worked, according to this, under Dr. Martin Luther King. And she's the co-founder of this group. But it's very clear when these people infiltrated the civil rights organization, like the SCLC, they tried to say that they can learn under them, but they were really there to push an alternative. And notice what her occupation is: U.S. lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender activist. Doesn't say Black activist, it says LGBT activists. I'm sure I've never heard of this group. And they want to boycott Dave Chappelle over a joke. Now, it's not just them. I'm not just going to talk about them, but I'm trying to avoid, I hate these copyright issues that we're getting. But even on, I want to see if I have the video up here. I'm going to play this video, or at least a part of it. But this is from Entertainment Tonight Canada. I don't want to get a copyright strike and deal with these people because it's just a headache. But I won't play the video. I just want you to look at this. Now, look at the number of likes to dislikes. Look at the likes to dislikes on it. 37 likes to 4,900. So, and the comments, I love the comments. The comment section, people trying to rip Dave apart proves exactly how correct he is in saying it is in the first place. And your sister Rose, we don't know who she is, but it's probably a bot. I'm gonna throw it back on him. It's the outrage. He's a comedian. You want to be treated equally? Then be ready to be joked about. Oh, you can't handle that? That's called special treatment. That's correct. The First Amendment applies to everybody. And you talk equality, well, with equal rights, there are equal lefts. Everybody can be made fun of. In Living Color used to make fun of, I remember Living Color, they made fun of Black people, but they made fun of white people. They made fun of gay people. I remember the Men on Films. I used to, even though it was two effeminized Black men, like Damon Wayans and David Allen Greer, those characters, I laughed my butt off, and I was a kid then when I watched it. That's still some of the funniest sketch comedy. That's the funniest sketch comedy show, in my opinion, of all time. I certainly think it beats Saturday Night Live by a mile. Mad TV even beats Saturday Night Live. I'll get to that in a minute. But you look back at the comments section, yeah, this guy is, the comedy sections, these people let them have it. They let Entertainment Tonight's ass have it because it's proven a point. They're out of touch. And these, these organizations, you got to remember what they did when I show you the ratings that they gave Dave's special. They did the same thing with his last special because of LGBTQ jokes. But that special was still one of the highest rated comedy specials Netflix ever had. And I doubt, number one, Netflix would even pull it because they're under contract with Dave. I'm sure that contract is ironclad. And I think Netflix would open itself up to a large cancellation of subscriptions if they didn't get it with Cuties, even though there were people who boycotted Netflix over that. They certainly would boycott Netflix over this. So the people that are complaining have a problem with him making jokes about transgenders and homosexuals and lesbians, but had no problem with him making jokes, you saying nigga, making a joke about Bill Cosby and all of this stuff. Nobody complained about that. And nobody tried to cancel Netflix. Neither did this person who worked on Dear White People, this Jocelyn Moore, never did it with regards to Netflix showing Cuties either. Remember when that happened last year when they put that movie out just last year, and people were complaining about the movie Cuties because it looked like it was a damn child pornography film. And of course, Chappelle, he defended the baby about how he was canceled for making disparaging remarks about the LGBTQ community, but not for killing a man at Walmart, which is true. The baby he was cleared legally for self-defense, I believe. But the baby was involved in, that incident that happened. And Dave, he's a comedian. Comedians are the mirror to America's soul. We point out stuff that most people see, you observe in your mirror, but you don't want to fix. You know you're there. You know that's your face. You just simply wash it and go by routine. You wash it, you brush it, you shave it. You don't notice any marks on it, although it's right there on your right cheek. But you just say, forget it. Let's go. But comedians are the mirrors to the souls of this country. Now, some comedians, of course, are just flat out just the buck and jive. There are people who are like that. There are comedians like that. But there are some who are smart. And they get it. And their job is not only to make you laugh, but they can make you laugh and make you think. Well, that's what Dave Chappelle does. That's what George Carlin did. That's what Chris Rock from time to time does. But Dave Chappelle is a master at this. Richard Pryor did it. Paul Mooney did it. He's a comedian. His job is to tell jokes. Now, I'm not going to play the video because I just don't want a copyright strike. But I'm sure these two people were, just from looking at the comments, he's saying, y'all prove Dave's point. So they probably said, I know they said something stupid. I'm just going to go on a limb. And they're not the only ones. You also have this person from Game of Thrones who made this comment. I'm going to go ahead and share that with you. Hold on. So this actor from Game of Thrones, a Christian Nern, talked with TMZ about Chappelle's jokes about the LGBTQ community, and he doesn't think they're funny at all. So he says, I just can't understand why people can't just let people live their lives and get on with it. Why is it such a big issue? It's not in his life. I don't get annoyed with things that don't affect me. I mean, I'm sure he's a great guy and all that, but I just love in that levels how I try to live my life. So then, and of course, this is TMZ gaslighting, trying to make stuff out of it. And he says again, I don't know Dave Chappelle, so I don't know his experience, but I just think as we move forward, we just need to be more accepting of each other. I just don't think there's any need, and I guess that's the actor there, to antagonize the situation than it already is. What situation though? See, this is proving the point. This is proving the point. What is the situation? He's a comedian. If you don't like it, here's what I used to say. If you see something you don't like, change the channel. Change the channel. The people that don't, I say this to even people on my live stream. If you have a problem with the stuff that I say, you can go to another channel and listen to any bullshit you want to hear. Just like Dr. Boyce Watkins, Dr. Boyce Watkins says the same thing on his channel. This is for intelligent Black people. So if you don't like what I have to say, then you can go somewhere. You're not gonna like it because this is for intelligent Black folks only. There was no controversy with it. It's just people who are butthurt by jokes. Nobody was crying foul when Don Rickles was alive, making Black jokes, making jokes about Japanese people, about being Jewish, although he was Jewish, making jokes about Jews, making jokes about Greeks, about Italians, Irish. I don't think he may have done a few gay jokes, but it wasn't that much. And guys like this, and I'm be real with you, some of you have probably watched Netflix. I don't.
Talking about how you're part of the LGBTQ plus community. I wanted to get your opinion.
So this person, so she just said he's part of the LGBTQ community, so he must be gay. So I can see why he's butthurt. I want to hear that right.
I saw your interview talking about how you're part of the LGBTQ plus community. I wanted to get your opinion on Dave Chappelle. Obviously, a huge topic right now. A lot of people in the LGBTQ plus community are offended.
What a lot of people. First off, they didn't. Let me say this too. When they say that they spoke to a lot of people in the LGBT community are offended. No, they didn't. They didn't interview, first of all, probably but one or two people. They didn't interview anybody that's gay because there are some people who don't disclose their sexuality. And that community is not that large like a lot of people think. By looking at the census numbers, is actually less than 3% in the United States are identify as that, and less than 1% identify as trans. So it's a very small number, but you have a very militant group of people who have taken this country by storm. I'll go ahead and play the video, but
they have a right to be.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a hot box issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously. I just can't understand why people just can't let people live their lives and get on with it. And why does it offend them so much?
Why are they offended so much?
No, why does it offend him so much? Why is it such a big issue? It's not in his life.
Yeah.
I don't get annoyed with things that don't affect me.
Yeah. Why is Dave Chappelle getting annoyed with things that don't affect him?
I mean, I'm sure he's a great guy.
Well, first off, let me stop right there. It does affect. Well, you can live your life how you want. It is your life, but what affects me, it does affect us because you guys are the ones pushing it. In Hollywood, you guys push LGBTQ stuff. Every character, every movie has to have at least one gay character. You look at even in your cartoons with children. You had shows like Muppet Babies, Doc McStuffins. A lot of these cartoons that they have come out recently, even the Finding Dory cartoon. I remember when that came out, they tried to throw in a lesbian scene. You look at the television shows now, look at Stars. I've honestly, to this point, I never thought I could say this, but I've actually gotten sick with Stars because when I watch Stars, every Black male character on a star's platform, if they're not the leading, not talking about a supporting black character. I'm talking about a black show with a black male lead. I've looked at it, and practically every black male is either on drugs, is a drug dealer, or they're gay. Something is wrong. And this is the type of image and stuff that Bill Cosby was trying to avoid. These were the images he was trying to avoid. That's another issue, but it does. The point is being made that it does affect us. That there is some type of agenda that's around in Hollywood where they want people to accept this. You will accept this, is what they tell us.
Yeah, I think living that live is how I try to live my life.
Yeah. I mean, what do you say to Dave Chappelle that maybe he doesn't realize what offensive things he's saying?
But yet again, I don't know Dave Chappelle, so I don't know his experiences.
Right.
But I think as we move forward, we just need to be more accepting of each other. I just don't think there's any need to antagonize the situation any more than it already is.
Yeah.
I am in full support of my trans brothers and sisters.
Yeah. I mean, I saw that you said it's important to stand up and be counted right now. How important is it to stand up for the other people of the LGBTQ+?
Yeah, I mean, we're all at different stages of acceptance. Gay men, gay women, non-binary. We're all at different stages of being accepted, so we have to support those people who haven't got as far as maybe gay men have gotten.
Yeah.
We're not quite there yet. We've still got more work to do.
Yeah.
So,
let me ask you this though. Like, a lot of people in comedy right now are saying, "Oh, it's just a joke." Like, is it just comedy, or is it people's way of being homophobic or being racist?
I appreciate that being a comedian must be difficult.
Yeah.
In this climate we're in, because everything's very sensitive. But there are other things that are funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's other things that are funny. I would rather make jokes about myself. I'm a pretty easy to pick on.
Be a comedian then, if you think you can make jokes about yourself. No, I hate this
Pick on myself, so I think it's better that way.
And I'm glad Dave is not sweating it. He's not sweating the joke.
Back up, guys. Back up. Back up, guys. Off the car.
What up, Dave? Dave. Off the car, guys. Dave, you upset the LGBTQ community.
He's not sweating it. Good. You know, let me turn this off. I've had enough, because I got to get to the next special. But let me just say this. If you think you can do stand-up, go up and try it. To the gentleman that was just speaking, well, I know it's hard and we're sensitive. Yeah, you're right. You are too sensitive. You're butthurt. You're not just butthurt from having penises shoved up it, apparently, because you like it, but you're butthurt by jokes, by words. If you watch the special, and I think you guys didn't watch the special, you were just triggered by a few things that he said, or you have heard from others. You saw clips of it probably floating online and didn't watch the entire special. He even talked about how he had a transgender woman actually open for his show in San Francisco. Every time he opened, he talked about it. And he did a tribute to her. And it wasn't just the fact he was talking about that. He was also talking about how he supported J.K. Rowling, because J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter, was considered transphobic because she believed in natural women. Like, I consider myself a natural woman. What's wrong with what she said? I know a lot of straight women. I know a lot of women who don't like it. I'm talking about real women that don't like the idea of men dressing in drag, or men who believe that they're women using the same bathroom as us. I know that they support, like my girlfriend and I, we talked about it, and she supported, while she necessarily wasn't against LGBT rights, she did not believe in transgenders being in the bathroom. She said that shit is where I cut it off. And a lot of other people feel the same way. They don't like seeing this. How would you like? Some people don't like. Who would like seeing a 6'8" man with a blonde wig on going in the women's bathroom in heels with your daughter in there? A lot, people don't like. There are a lot of people just don't like it. Absolutely not. The shit is funny to me. And let me be clear. I'm not home. I don't consider myself. I think these are. We look at the term. Let's start over. When you look at the terms like homophobic and transphobic, those words are misleading in of itself. Judge Joe Brown and I talked about this before, but I've been on here before. With the word phobia, the Latin term of it means a fear of, because Latin is the root of all English, the English language. Phobia means the state of fear, and homo means male or the same. Hetero, of course, meaning opposite. I'm not afraid of nobody. A phobia means a fear of. There are disorders in the DSM like arachnophobia, fear of spiders. There's hydrophobia, people who fear water. Aerophobia, people who fear heights. There are different types of phobia. They got people who are scared of dogs. There are people who are scared of clowns. There's ophidiophobia, people who are scared of snakes. There are people who are afraid of driving, people who never driven a car that are scared of cars. That stuff happens. There are people like that. And there's psychiatrists that are hired to help those people with those fears, overcoming those things. I don't fear people. I don't fear men. What people dislike is the behavior. I have had, gay clients. I've represented people. I've represented them to the fullest extent of the law as a lawyer. We had a person that, I remember in the criminal clinic, we had a person that was, like that, a man who had long fingernails and was growing his hair down all the way to hit the arch of his back, and I guess was trying to develop breast or whatever. And while I didn't like, it's not my cup of tea. Yeah, shit is awkward to me. I did not mistreat him because of that. But if he asked me, am I gonna go hang out with him, grab a beer? No, that ain't my job. And that's kind of what they're doing. They want you to go all the way with them. Well, let me live this and give us rights. And we say, fine. Well, you got to come to it's like saying support gay marriage. Fine. Well, now you got to come to the wedding. Well, no, I don't want to do that. Oh, you must be homophobic. That's kind of the situation that we're in right now. People wanting to force seeing men wearing dresses. This is not something I saw men in my generation do. This was not kosher, if you would say. Men didn't wear dresses. Men didn't grow their fingernails out. Men used to cut their hair if their hair was long. Of course, back in the day, we used to wear the afros and stuff. We saw our parents with that. But that was real. That was a statement about our culture when we talk about afros and the Black Power fist. So Dave is holding his ground. I support him. The stand-up stage is sacred. And let me say this. I have not seen some of these very groups that are complaining about this. I did not see them complain once about, like I said, the Don Rickles or Lisa Lampanelli, especially Lisa Lampanelli, where she openly used the word nigger in her act, talking about blacks, and Sarah Silverman saying racist stuff about Dr. King, who's Jew. Sarah Silverman is Jewish. She didn't say, they haven't said anything about that. I'm sure someone was sitting in the audience laughing, so it's okay for that. But you're going to complain when Dave Chappelle makes a joke about yourself? Well, what you want then is not equality. What you want is special treatment. What you want is dominance. And that's what's going on. Dave Chappelle, stand your ground, brother. Dave ain't sweating them. And you can't cancel a legend. He's made 50, he walked away from 50 million and went and got 80 million from working at Netflix. And he's doing it outside the Hollywood machine, which is why they don't like Dave Chappelle. That's why you don't see Cat Williams in a lot of stuff. And Cat may have killed his career with drugs and so forth, but Cat I saw Cat Williams come here in the Baton Rouge back in 2013. Cat was a beast, still is a beast. This man can sell out stadiums if he wants because he's got a following. Chappelle's got a following, so he doesn't need a Hollywood movie. And that's what's up. So last thing I want to talk about, let's go on a little lighter, is Kim Kardashian hosts Saturday Night Live. Now, I know a lot of you don't watch Saturday Night Live. I don't really watch it either. But Kim K hosted SNL in its inaugural 40, I believe this is the 46th season of SNL. They opened yesterday. And this was her Saturday Night Live debut. Now, I have not watched SNL. I've never watched SNL. Probably 2 years.
But I'd love America to come together, which is why I'm here to announce that I'm running for. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm not running for president. We can't have 3 failed politicians in one family.
She won't cause any drama and it's damaging our brand.
I'm a Jenner, not a Kardashian.
And that's something you need to work on, honey.
Now, she took shots at Kanye. She also took a shot at OJ Simpson. Now, I was watching in part Harvey Superboy, shout out to him, his analysis of the special. I don't want to, if I play it, I don't want to play the monologue. But she made a joke about OJ. And, oh man, what happened? She made a joke about OJ and how her father, hold on, let me close this because I hate when these ads come up. She said she joked about OJ and her father, where she said, I credit my dad with really opening up my eyes to racial injustice. It's because of him I met my first Black person. Want to take a stab in the dark at who it was. I know it's sort of weird to remember the first Black person you met, but OJ does leave a mark, or several, or none at all. I still don't know, to the shocked laughs of the audience. Now, she joked about her husband, her soon-to-be ex-husband, Kanye. I married the best rapper of all time. Not only that, he's the richest Black man in America, a talented, legit genius who gave me 4 incredible kids. So when I divorced him, you have to know it came down to just one thing, his personality. Now, it's jokes. Yeah. It's jokes. I get it. But he is still the father of your children. So how does that look? And I guess this was Harvey's thing, because Harvey has defended Kanye multiple times. He's defended OJ, of course. He's defended Michael. And he's defended Bill for sure. And I don't know, Harvey's, it's my boy and all, but Harvey sometimes I don't know if he has a strong sense of humor. And he even says that. You know, because I'm a comedian, I try to look at it from, well, it's fair game, it's jokes, which it is. Yes, they can do what they want. They can write what they want as their show. And I don't believe Kim K wrote those jokes. She didn't write shit. No. SNL has their own writers. They have cue cards from the hosts that they read there. You see them all the time, especially in some of the episodes when the hosts are going off and breaking the fourth wall, walking through the audience. You see them holding the cards there. So that happens. And Kim K, they brought her on obviously to give SNL a boost in ratings. So it doesn't surprise me that she threw her husband under the bus, because that's what they do. She's used the brand. She married this man to get more paper. She got her 4 kids, and now she's leaving him. But I can tell you this, especially being a man, a high man with high value can get any woman he wants. Kanye gonna be all right. Kanye can get as many broads he wants right to this day. He can date multiple girls because he has options. He has money. Now, of course, you don't want a woman to marry you for money, but he's on the other hand, you also, as I said, have options and security there. Whereas if you're a female like Kim K, for instance, who's been through multiple divorces, multiple men, has 4 children, and she is wealthy, she her value though in men that date her, it goes down over a while. It's like a car that leaves a lot. And ladies, please don't get offended by me saying this, but it's true for a lot of men. Especially when girls get older, and I'm not talking about all females. Let me be clear, but a woman who has 4 children, you look at it, obviously what they're bringing to the table, and you would look at, you know what, if you feel that bad, you would even look at this. There are some things you can look at men, maybe not in this, maybe in this same light, but maybe for different reasons. But you look at Kim K. I'm gonna just focus on Kim K. Okay, 3 times divorced. Actually 4, because this is her. She was, yeah, this is her. Well, she never married Ray J, but she's been through 3 marriages, so 3 times divorced. Yes, she's wealthy. I'm just trying to be careful, Boss of Queenie, because I don't want this channel taken down and say I'm bullying, because I'm not. But it is value. Money is power, and like it is, there are things that we look at, especially if you got 4 kids, you're 3 times divorced. A lot of men ain't gonna be fucking with you. And truth be told, she wouldn't be you know, unless she finds a simp. Men are not really that interested in you. You married Kanye for better or for worse, and when it got worse, obviously for you, you said, "Fucking, I'm out." What's up, Frank Nitty? And so she made, but to so I look at that on the other late way, both sides, and you look at it on the other hand. So one hand, Kanye, I think he comes out of it great. He started dating again, and then on the other hand, Kim is just like damaged goods. I'm sorry. I'm not. Yeah, she's an attractive woman. I agree. Of course, that's yeah. You could say surgery or whatever, but Kim was fine. I can't take that away from her. But those Kardashians, they marry these black men. Let's be real. They mess with these black men, and they make what they can out of them, get what they want, use them up, and when they're done with them, they throw them away. Lamar Odom, Kanye West. You have, I know Chris, the mama. I mean, she was messing with OJ while she was married to Rob Kardashian. Hell, OJ's wife, Nicole, was messing with Marcus Allen. So these were housewives. They don't do anything in particular. And, she's a socialite. She doesn't have money. Well, they're socialites. They don't have a job where they start out. They're known for being actors or actresses, but they're known obviously for their looks, their appearances, hanging around with the right people. Because most of the time when you make these deals, it's not about it's not about really having an education or income. It's really about who you know, the relationships you build. Yeah, I remember when she was messing with Reggie Bush. She was also messing with Miles Austin. But when she took that shot at OJ, and this is what I want to talk about. Now, I saw part of what Harvey was discussing, but do not let them, and we have to be the ones to fix this, but do not let people bully you into accepting that OJ got off with murder based off juror nullification. I talked about this before. There was actually a book you could go read, Double Cross for Blood, by a brother by the name of Dr. Henry Johnson. Johnson is He is O.J. Simpson's personal physician, I believe. Not at the time of him writing the book, but hey, it gets real, Frank Nitty. I'm being real with y'all. I don't hold shit back. That is deprivation. Let's be real. She filed for divorce back in February. She had 4 kids by him. When she got tired, she got out of it. And let's be real, the Kardashians are who they are because of O.J. Simpson, because their father, if you remember, was the OJ's best friend. He was the one that read the quote unquote suicide letter from OJ that was allegedly signed by him with a smiley face. That's questionable. And remember, Kardashian, when the not guilty verdict was read, he had a shocked look on his face. Now, Carl Douglas, who was also on that dream team, it's Robert Shapiro, Barry Shett, Alan Dershowitz, and Carl Douglas, who are the last surviving attorneys for O.J. Simpson. And Carl Douglas even said that if Rob Kardashian had any doubts about O.J. being guilty, he never expressed that with the team, and certainly not even at that point when when that verdict was read. Because I remember, even in that docu-series they did on O.J. Simpson, Black and White in America, I believe, O.J. Simpson Made in America, that won an Oscar. And that was a propaganda as well that they did for ESPN. I remember when Stephen A. Smith came out saying he would have beat Johnny Cochran. No, you would have got your ass whipped, nigga. Sit down. By the way, Stephen A. Smith looks like one of that National Black Justice Coalition mug. If y'all see him I'm going to put that up here right quick. Hold on. We're going to get back to what I'm talking about. This is him here. Oh, yeah, when he did that more.
Otherwise, male determined genitalia.
Right.
We gotta get beyond.
Hold on. Let me put I should have done this earlier. But look at this. Look at this shrimp. Look at this. This is the guy. And all of these are dudes, by the way. But remember the Breakfast Club when they did that interview? And they have Milk Yogurt come on here? The only female on the Breakfast Club that morning was Angela Yee. And she's nothing to brag about. Yeah, she cute and all, but she's nothing to brag. I don't like how she does stuff, but that's here nor there. But look at this. This is the guy from the hairline. It looks exactly like Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah. That is problematic because, again, transness has so little to do with otherwise male determined genitalia. Right. We gotta get beyond being fascinated with people's dicks. Period. That's not what this is about.
But you fascinated with it. He's fascinated with it. It is what it's about. Let's be real. It's about removing them.
This conversation is about people's spirits, making space for people and how they show up. It ain't got shit to do with what they got between their legs.
And then also too,
that is problematic because, again,
this is what the Breakfast Club, and Tariq has never been on the Breakfast Club ever since.
A homosexual. A homosexual.
I don't know why old boy put this up.
A homosexual.
He made me laugh. Look, I didn't know what this man was. It's like the deacon at your church. I just put this up. I didn't know. No, milky. Judge calls him milk yogurt. Stephen Coon Smith. Hold on. Let me exit out of this. Yeah, I was looking for Tariq because Tariq actually has the picture up of them. Hold on. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, that's the guy you're talking about. That's the dude, David Johns, who's the director, the executive director of the National Black Justice Coalition. Now, if that don't look like Stephen A. Smith, the same line and the same 1, 2, 3 head back, they have. I don't know. I probably shouldn't even be talking about liners, but at least I'm attractive. Hold on, let me. Does that not look like Stephen A. Smith? This look like, quite frankly, yes, it's Stephen A. Smith. Let me get that number 12. And number 12, we don't have a number 12 on the chart. Yeah, 6 plus 6. All gas road. Oh, Lord. He could play Stephen A. Smith in a biopic made by Tyler Perry. No, it's not New York. It was New York Phantom Beat, but he was the one that was always undercover. That broke my heart, man. And look, Malik Yoba, I will say this: he was a pretty damn good actor on that show, no doubt. And he was one of the few strong black male characters on television at that time. The 90s, especially when you had an influx of black TV shows, we didn't see too many dramas that were black led. And this was the first, New York Undercover was the first police show that featured a black character and a Puerto Rican character. Remember the character Eddie that was played by Michael DeLorenzo, and DeLorenzo was actually a dancer. He started out, he was in the Beat It video with Michael Jackson, if you remember that. And Malik Yoba, I didn't remember him from anything, but I remember when he was in Cool Runnings and the Jamaican bobsled team. Feel the rhythm, feel the line, Cool Runnings, it's bobsled time. Those were good things to see. Those were good things to see. And I was disappointed, and especially hearing that he was in hearing, not only the stuff he did, but the stuff coming out that he loved trans women and things like that. But when he came on Judge Joe Brown's show, he actually hung up while he and Judge are talking. Judge was debating him. Judge is like, well, personally, I'm just disappointed in you coming on here trying to push your moistness onto everybody because this is agenda. Well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, all we have here is these fruit buckets coming on this show pushing their stuff onto you. You are allowed to. He didn't really say that, but he was giving Malik Yoba that work, asking him questions, or he calls him milk yogurt, and he called him that because during the broadcast, y'all can look it up because it's on YouTube. Phantom, you know what I'm talking about. He hung up. They promised to give Valerie, who was the producer of the show, and Judge at least an hour. They ended up leaving before all of that, before their time. And Valerie was upset, obviously. But I don't think I was on there. No, at that moment. But the callers that were coming in the regular panels, they were giving them that work. Judge was wrecking him. Yeah, Judge Joe Brown has no filter. He doesn't hold back. I gotta have Judge come back on the show. But let me get back to the OJ thing. OJ Simpson, if you buy that book, Out for Blood, if you buy the Double Cross for Blood, I have it. It is a good book. It is a must-read book on the O.J. Simpson case. You all should look at that. It's $19.95. I'm gonna put it up here and broadcast it. I might have him, because I've reached out to him before, come on the channel. What's up, computer robots? I see you. You know, this is the book you need to read. This is another book. I tried to have him come on before he passed, but this was F. Lee Bailey's book that he finished. And I believe if his partner, his law partner, well, he wasn't practicing law then, but his partner in his PR at his firm that he ran, he ran I believe he was running not a law, he wasn't running a law firm, but what you would call a disaster for what's the term? A crisis management firm, if I'm not mistaken. F. Lee Bailey was running that at the time of his death. It was a consulting firm. And yeah, F. Lee Bailey Consulting. So we know Mr. Bailey has passed on, sadly, and I wish I could have gotten him on my show. I really want to had him come on and talk with you. He died right before his death. But I might try, what I will do is try and reach out to his cohorts to come on the show. But you all should read this book, The Truth About the O.J. Simpson Trial. There's another one called Legacy of Deception. Now, this one really goes into detail. It's on Kindle. This is the one you got to read. It's not a long read, too. It's a good read. You could finish it, you could finish it in, I would say, 3 days. If you really dedicate like 75 pages a day to it or something like that, or 80 pages, you could probably finish it. Probably maybe more than 3 days. But Steve Singular wrote this book called Legacy of Deception. And it was about his involvement in the defense team for O.J. Simpson. And he gave updates about it. And what he described in this book is essentially what was going on at the LAPD in regards to how O.J. Simpson was framed. And what they did, because they actually detailed in the book how they framed him, and also stuff that you didn't hear that the media, it came out at trial, because I actually remember it, but they went in detail about the blood, in particular, how they were able to switch the samples. It wasn't like the LAPD, the entire LAPD peppered the crime scene, but what they did was the samples that, for instance, when OJ gave blood samples, and they found later on, blood in the socks and blood on the gloves and supposedly blood outside the Bronco. Well, they interviewed the gentleman who testified at the trial. They called the tow truck driver, Ernie Durrell. They called the impound detective at the LAPD. They count about 4 different witnesses, and Thomas Johnson, who is Henry Johnson's brother, who's actively involved in it. These people actually testified and said no, they did not see blood. So all the stuff that you saw when they say he had blood in his socks, her blood in his socks, remember when that vial of blood was missing, and they testified to this at the trial. And they said it was a mix of OJ's blood and Nicole and Ron's. They found out that vial was missing some blood, and they detected EDTA in the socks, in the blood samples. Well, EDTA is a preservative that is used, and Tariq Nasheed has talked about this. It's a preservative that is used in in hospitals and clinics to preserve blood samples to prevent clotting. My mom, when she worked at the VA and heard these people even testify to that at the trial, she knew immediately when they asked the question, when they mentioned how the EDTA was in the sock, she knew automatically they planted it because she knows the only way you could get EDTA is from a hospital in a vial. So what they did was they took whatever O.J. Simpson samples that he gave and they mixed that in and switched the swab so that way they could say there was a match. But they talk about this in this book, and Marshall Clark, with her lying ass, tried to say, well, that was not because of that wasn't because of EDTA being the EDTA wasn't present because of a vial. That was because it was from laundry detergent. Bullshit. I remember this crime scene. I remember this case. But they always SNL, and just to talk about SNL, ladies and gentlemen, Saturday Night Live has got to be one of the worst shows on television. I don't know how a show, even Phil Lamar from Mad TV, I remember when he did an interview with Vlad, and he kind of hinted how Saturday Night Live sucked and wasn't funny, but he respected Lorne Michaels, who created Saturday Night Live, for essentially being able to stay in business as long as he has. And, you know, they obviously have connections with the industry because people who have been on Saturday Night Live end up in movies, they end up in television, they end up, you know, doing music, whatever. They do something. Maybe not all of them, but at one point, you know, don't have lasting careers, but at some point they end up in a movie. You know, I remember Chris, you know, of course, Chris Rock's tenure at SNL, you know, I remember him as, was it Nat X? But Chris, essentially, they put him only as like a token black guy. And it's no disrespect to Chris, but Chris never dominated anything in his SNL sketches. It wasn't like in Living Color where you saw the Waynes all the time. Keenan Ivory Wayans put his family in the business. And you had a lot of stars that came out of In Living Color. Jamie Foxx, Jennifer Lopez as a fly girl, Carrie Ann Inaba as a fly girl, Rosie Perez, the coach of the Fly Girls. She was their choreographer. Although Rosie was known before, she went on In Living Color because she did do the right thing. But, you know, that was part of her career. You had David Alan Grier, who was an actor, but he was known for being a Broadway actor. Nobody knew he could do comedy, but he did it so great. Of course, Jim Carrey. The white girl they had on it, they even had Kelly Cofield, who married Steve Park, who was a featured actor on the show in the 3rd season of In Living Color. You had Kim Coles. Kim Coles was on In Living Color. Y'all remember her? Living Single. Now, she did 1 season of In Living Color. It didn't last long, and I think she obviously didn't get along with the cast or whatever. I don't know what it was. But, you know, they decided to release her. But she went on doing Living Single, which paid off. And she was great in that. And Kim Coles back in the day was fine. Kim had back. Kim was thick in the ass. Kim was thick in the ass. I'm being real. She was. I never noticed. I mean, I was only 4 when In Living Color came on. 4 or 3, whatever. But I remember what Sunday nights when they had those shows, and they were fun. But even Mad TV was funny. Now, Mad TV didn't have the stars that came out like SNL does, or even In Living Color. But Mad TV was funny. And I think Quincy Jones was actually the executive producer of Mad TV, one of the executive producers. And they had Phil Lamar, Deborah Wilson, Ari Spears, who came later on. One of my favorites was Will Sasso. Will Sasso did Steven Seagal. I laughed my ass off at that all the time. I think Will Sasso was a great actor, comedian. Bobby Lee, I know he came later on. They had a bunch of people, but I mean, were they on the level of? They had a bunch of people who, and they still do work in Hollywood now. Were they on the level of a Chris Rock or even an Adam Sandler, SNL, or even a Chevy Chase? No, or Dan Aykroyd? No, but they had very funny people. Michael McDonald was a guy who dominated on Mad TV. He was basically Mr. Mad TV for a while. He's the only cast member of the show to actually have his best of special, to actually do a best of all of his sketches that he was the lead in. But that first season of Mad TV was special. Nicole Sullivan, a couple of other people, Artie Lang. I remember when Artie Lang was on there for the first 2 years. But Artie, he hurt himself with drugs. Brian Collin, Orlando Jones. And Orlando Jones, and speaking of OJ, Orlando Jones used to do a lot of OJ Simpson jokes on there. And of course they did it from the perspective of him being guilty. Because that's what sells. And that's the thing about Kim Kardashian and the Kardashians, is that the OJ did it industry, as Tariq Nasheed will say, is a multi-million-dollar business. It's the same thing they did with Bill Cosby. There's money to be made in documentaries. There's money to be made. That's the link from the book. There's money to be made in TV coverage of it. That's how E! Network got built up. I remember when they showed the O.J. Simpson trial. That's how all of those shows got built. That's how all these networks made something. And that really started, we talk about changing the narrative and how powerful the media is, and this is the thing I'm going through with my book. They would have someone like Nancy Grace or a guy by the name of Dominic Dunn. He was a reporter, and I think I told you about him before. Dominic Dunn was at the O.J. Simpson trial, and it was this man. Hold on, this is him. He essentially is the one that came about with making the O.J. Simpson trial like a Othello type of case, where a man, this black brute, this Moor, kills this blonde-headed white girl and made it look like it was a crime of rage or a crime of anger. Passion, rather, I should say. That's the words I'm looking at. That's how it was. And he called now. He even traveled to Las Vegas to cover O.J. Simpson's trial on his kidnapping charges. Now, he was the father of Griffin Dunn and Dominique Dunn. Griffin Dunn is the actor. He was Jack in American Werewolf in London. I told you about that. But his daughter Dominique was an actress who was murdered by an ex-boyfriend, John Sweeney. She was choked to death back in 1982. So he had a personal, I'll just say it, he had a personal grudge obviously with domestic violence based off of his experience. Now, of course, what happened to his daughter was tragic. And I could understand why he would still be emotional over stuff like that. And it wasn't just him. You also had Nancy Grace doing the same thing. Yeah, his daughter was killed. His daughter, Dominique Dunn, was killed. She was the actress in Poltergeist. Now, when he goes to report for Vanity Fair, and it's a domestic violence case in Los Angeles where his daughter was living, do you guys think he was going to do it from as a professional journalist, or do you think he was doing it from a biased perspective? Do you think he had a bias in his reporting? Well, yes. And a lot of reporters obviously do have that because they want, nowadays, especially in the age of CNN and Fox and NBC, they want you to feel a certain way. And they want to indoctrinate people to feel a certain way about some things. So yeah, Derek, his daughter was killed. And Nancy Grace apparently was doing the same thing. According to Judge Joe Brown, she started covering the OJ trial, and she wasn't even there most of the time. So she frequently, you look at Nancy Grace, she's a former prosecutor, and she frequently discusses the case from what she calls a victim's rights standpoint. And she's received a lot of criticism for it. And she received praise, and she's been lampooned in the media. I remember Gone Girl, in the movie Gone Girl, the character Ellen Abbott, that was based on Nancy Grace. So y'all check out those books though. But that's the type of crap we're dealing with. And so yeah, Kim K, it doesn't surprise me. But yeah, SNL should be canceled. Should have been canceled a long time. Remember when Martin was on SNL and they censored him and he was never invited back to host the show? I remember what they did with Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy came back to host SNL after 35 years. And I watched that, and that was SNL's up to that date. Those were the biggest ratings SNL had in a long time. I believe since the elections, because that's what SNL survives on. They survive on, election coverage, on political humor. That's how they make their living. That's how they stay afloat, apparently. And I mean, I don't consider it funny, but they've been around for that long period, I guess, and that's why they stayed in business. But you guys check out those books. Speaking of books, I am in the final processes of editing my book. Doing those. Did my first round of edits, so we're doing another second round to clear up any grammatical errors, and also just having my legal look over stuff, just so things are fine and in the clear. Because you also want to protect yourself from any possible, people coming back at you saying you shouldn't have done this, doing that, because that stuff does happen. And so you guys can get that book available. It will be available this fall. I can guarantee you that. I'm gonna try and have it ready for everybody this fall. Hopefully, I can, if we get it finalized, get through our round of edits, it will be before or just in time for Halloween. So that book, of course, is entitled "The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in the United States." You don't want to miss this, guys. This is going to be a knockout. It is a great book. You will love it. Sean has already reviewed it and given his thumbs up on it. So I know that you guys will love it. But that's coming soon. And I also have a new podcast that I'm setting up. I'm doing a lot of things Thank you, Darius. Thank you, man. You gotta get the book when it comes out. I have it available on Kindle. I also have paperback if people will watch it, but it's better, if you got Kindle, if you got a phone, just looking at it right there is just easier. So, uh, I have a new podcast that's going to come out. I still have my Gavin Present podcast on Anchor, but I got to start a new season on that real shortly. So I'm trying to do multiple things, multitask, man. But it's a lot of work. It's not easy being an entrepreneur, having your own business set up because you're by yourself all the time. You feel that way, especially because you don't start out making a lot of money. You don't have the support. You don't have a steady paycheck, but in the end, if you apply yourself, and this is with anything, and I don't care what your skin color is, and I'm not saying, of course, there isn't racism, but I don't care what you are in life. If you don't apply yourself, likely it's going to fail. So you got to keep pushing and keep trying. And that's what I'm doing. I'm pushing. We're pushing this. We're going to make it. So and I thank you all for your support. I need you all to continue to support me. So please check out that book. When it comes out, I will let you know with the release date. I will have a trailer for it as well coming. I've talked about that. I'll be working on that now and next week. I'm going to see if I can possibly get it done before Thursday so it could drop just in time for the live stream. But you guys check out, please, if you enjoyed this, donate to the Cash App. You see that there, Gavin Richard Esquire. If this is your first time here, you can also donate through PayPal and Google Pay. Those are the emails, gavin.jrich1@gmail.com or Zelle. That's the phone number there in which you can contribute. If you would like to advertise, you have a Black-owned business, you can send me information about your business at that email, and I can also tell you the rates of how I do the advertisement, what you would like done in it. Also, if you would like to join the Patreon where you can see some exclusive content, you can go ahead and go to that link there at patreon.com/GavinGBoo2786. We're about to give y'all our own Patreon. It's the same as the YouTube channel. Also, of course, we have our seasoning company, Nani's Creole Blends. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nani's goes great with every dish. We have that available for you all that you can check out. We're trying to get that in stores real soon as well. We're going to be doing things locally, so that's coming up. And of course, most of you know the music that I'm doing. I'm still working on my music. That's been coming along. I would appreciate if you guys would go ahead and download or you can stream Video Soul. That's available on iTunes. I believe Video Soul now, as of this date, according to my reports, because I've gotten it from, I distribute it digitally through DistroKid. It's available on Amazon. It was just recently made available on MediaNet. If you're there, you guys can check that out. I would appreciate it if you did. That's Video Soul. The reason why I call it that, I think it could make great music in a video game. And also, we have, of course, Gotta Get On Up. Now, we've gotten on down, ladies and gentlemen, as we always do. And when we get on down, it's always time to go on and get on up. So you guys be safe and be blessed. I will be back this Tuesday. I don't think I will have Sean back on Tuesday. I think we're going to go back to our regular schedule. I'm not sure, but either it's Tuesday or Thursdays. As you know, Sean comes on and does the live stream with me, but I may have another special guest roll in. It's either Sean or maybe Harvey that come on with me. But you guys be safe, be blessed. Before we leave, I want to look at one last comment. Of course, baby. Thank you, Boss Queenie. Share it with your friends. Have your friends buy it and check it out. That's even the best way to support, too. So let's go on. Let's get on out. I've been on here for 2 hours now. So you guys be safe and be blessed. I'll holla. Peace. One love.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, cause on the dance floor is where we're living. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you're breathing, you're achieving. So if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up
And move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Yeah, gotta get on. Come on, baby, gotta get on.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Let me get that 1-2 special. That 1-2 special. We don't have a 1-2 special. Yeah, 1 and 2. Good night. Stephen A. Smith Jr. says good night. Quite frankly, it's ridiculous.